Hi everyone, and welcome back to another English lesson. In today's podcast, you will learn or you are going to listen to a simple story about a busy person's daily routine. She studies, works, exercises, and enjoys different hobbies throughout the day. While you listen, pay attention to the vocabulary, the activities, and the different times of the day. This is a great way to practice everyday English, so let's start with this.
How do I have time for everything? I sometimes ask myself this question. I study. I work. I exercise. I read. I learn English. I listen to music. I watch movies. I have different hobbies. And sometimes I meet my friends too. My days are usually very busy, but I like being busy. I like learning new things, and I don't like doing the same thing every day. So, what does a normal day look like for me? Well, let me take you through my day. My alarm rings at 6:30 in the morning. I open my eyes, look at the clock, and think. It's too early. I really want to stay in bed. Sometimes I close my eyes for 5 more minutes. But today, I get up. At 6:35, I get out of bed. I open the curtains and look outside. I make my bed because I like my room to look clean. Then, at 6:40, I go to the bathroom. I brush my teeth. I wash my face. And then I take a shower. I usually take a shower for about 10 minutes. So, at around 6:50, I'm ready. I dry my hair and get dressed. I usually wear jeans, a t-shirt, and comfortable shoes. If the weather is cold, I put on a jacket. At 7 o'clock, I go to the kitchen. It's breakfast time. I usually have eggs, bread, fruit, and yogurt. Sometimes I have cereal. And, of course, I drink water. Sometimes I drink coffee too. I like having a quiet breakfast. So, while I eat, I usually listen to music. Sometimes I listen to an English podcast. I don't always understand everything, but I can learn new words. At 7:20, I finish my breakfast. Then I look at my schedule. This is one of the most important things I do in the morning. I have many activities, so I need a plan. I look at my notebook and check my day. At 7:30, I start studying. I am a student, so I usually study in the morning. I think the morning is a good time to study because my mind is fresh. I start with reading. I read my notes and review information from my classes. Then I do some exercises. Sometimes I watch a video about the topic I'm studying. At 8:15, I take a short break. I get up from my chair. I drink some water. I walk around my room. Sometimes I check my phone, but I try not to use it for too long. If I start watching videos, I can lose 30 minutes very quickly. So, after about 10 minutes, I go back to studying. At 8:25, I continue studying. I usually study until 9:30. Sometimes I study English. Sometimes I study another subject. It depends on what I have to do. At 9:30, I finish my study time. I close my notebook and take another short break. I usually eat a small snack. Maybe a banana. Maybe some fruit. And sometimes I have a glass of juice. At 9:45, I start getting ready for work. I check my messages. I check my schedule again. I make sure I have everything I need. At 10 o'clock, I start working. My work is usually on my computer. I answer messages. I write things. I talk to people. I work on different projects. Sometimes I have meetings. Sometimes I have a lot of work. Other days are easier. At 11 o'clock, I take a small break. I stand up and walk around. I don't like sitting for many hours without moving. So I walk for a few minutes. Then I return to my computer. At 11:10, I continue working. I usually work until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And at 1 o'clock, lunch. I am always hungry at this time. I go to the kitchen and prepare my lunch. Sometimes I eat rice and chicken. Sometimes I eat pasta. Sometimes I eat vegetables and eggs. It depends on the day. At 1:30, I finish lunch. I don't start working immediately. I like having a little break. So, from 1:30 to 2 o'clock, I relax. Sometimes I listen to music. Usually, I talk to my family. Often, I just sit and do nothing. At 2 o'clock, I start working again. The afternoon is usually busy. I answer more messages. I work on my computer. I finish small tasks. In many cases, I have a meeting at 3 o'clock. The meeting usually lasts about 30 minutes. After the meeting, I continue working. At around 4 o'clock, I start feeling tired. My brain says, "That's enough." But I still have some things to finish. So I take a short break. I drink some water. Sometimes I have a coffee. Then I continue. At 5 o'clock, I usually finish work. And honestly, I'm happy. I close my computer and think, finally, now I have time for myself. At 5:15, I change my clothes. I put on comfortable clothes and prepare for exercise. I like exercising because I spend many hours studying and working. I need to move. At 5:30, I go outside. Sometimes I walk. Sometimes I ride my bike. Sometimes I do a workout at home. Today, I decide to go for a walk. I walk for about 30 minutes. While I walk, I listen to music. Sometimes I listen to an English podcast. I like doing this because I can exercise and practice English at the same time. At 6:10, I come back home. I'm a little tired, but I feel good. I drink some water. Then I take a shower. At 6:30, I am ready again. And now it's time for another important part of my day. My hobbies. I have many hobbies, so I don't do the same thing every day. On some days, I read. On other days, I watch movies. Sometimes I draw. Sometimes I listen to music. Sometimes I learn something new online. Today, I decide to read. At 6:40, I sit in my favorite chair and open my book. I usually read for about 30 minutes. I don't need to read a lot. Even a few pages are good. Sometimes I read in English. When I see a new word, I write it in my notebook. At 7:10, I finish reading. Then I go to the kitchen. It's time for dinner. At 7:20, I prepare my dinner. Tonight, I make pasta. I cook the pasta and prepare a simple sauce. While I cook, I listen to music. Cooking is another activity I enjoy. I'm not a professional cook, but I like trying new food. At 7:45, dinner is ready. I sit down and eat. Sometimes I eat alone. Sometimes I eat with my family. We talk about our day. We talk about work, school, and different things. At 8:15, I finish dinner. Then I clean the kitchen. I wash the dishes and clean the table. At 8:30, I finally have some free time. This is my favorite part of the evening. I don't have to study. I don't have to work. I can simply relax. Sometimes I watch a movie. Sometimes I watch a series. Sometimes I play a video game. And sometimes I just listen to music. Tonight, I decide to watch a movie. I choose a movie in English. I turn on the subtitles and watch. I don't understand every word. That's okay. I understand the story. And I learn some new expressions. At 9:30, the movie ends. I look at the clock. Wow! It's already 9:30. Time goes very fast. At 9:35, I check my schedule for tomorrow. I have another busy day. I write down the important things. Study, work, exercise, and maybe some free time. At 9:45, I prepare my things for tomorrow. I choose my clothes. I prepare my bag. I put my notebook on my desk. I check my alarm. It is set for 6:30. Hopefully, tomorrow I will get up immediately. Hopefully. At 10 o'clock, I stop using my phone. Well, I try to stop using my phone. Sometimes I say, just 5 minutes. And then I spend 20 minutes watching videos. So I put my phone on the table and leave it there. At 10:10, I go to the bathroom. I brush my teeth. I wash my face. Then I get ready for bed. At 10:20, I go to my room. I turn off the big light. I get into bed. Before I sleep, I like thinking about my day. Sometimes I ask myself, what did I do today? Well, I studied. I worked. I exercised. I read. I cooked. I watched a movie. I practiced English. And I spent time with my family. That's a lot. And yes, sometimes I'm tired. Very tired. But I enjoy having different activities in my life. I don't want every day to be exactly the same. I like learning. I like working. I like my hobbies. I like being active. But I also understand something important. I can't do everything every day. Some days I don't have time to exercise. Some days I don't read. Some days I don't watch a movie. And that's okay. I don't need to be busy every minute. Sometimes I need to rest. Sometimes I need to do nothing. And that's part of my routine too. At 10:30, I close my eyes. I take a deep breath. And I go to sleep. Tomorrow, my alarm will ring again at 6:30. And another busy day will begin. Maybe tomorrow will be different. Maybe I will study something new. Maybe I will meet a friend. Maybe I will try a new hobby. I don't know yet. But that's what I like about life. Every day can be a little different. And if you are learning English, you can talk about your own routine too. You can start with the time. For example, I wake up at 6:30. I have breakfast at 7 o'clock. I study at 7:30. I work at 10 o'clock. I have lunch at 1 o'clock. I exercise at 5:30. I read at 6:40. I have dinner at 7:20. Watch a movie at 8:30. I go to bed at 10:30. These sentences are simple, but you can use them to talk about your whole day. And then you can add more information. I usually wake up at 6:30 because I like studying in the morning. I exercise at 5:30 because I sit for many hours during the day. I read at night because reading helps me relax. You don't need difficult vocabulary. You just need to talk about things you already know. Your life, your studies, your work, your family, your hobbies, your interests, your routine. So tomorrow, when you wake up, try this. Look at the clock and say the time in English. Then say what you are doing. It's 6:30. I am getting up. It's 7 o'clock. I am having breakfast. T's 8 o'clock. I am studying. It's 10 o'clock. I am working. You can practice English during your normal day. You don't need a special place. You don't need hours and hours. You can practice for a few minutes at a time. And little by little, speaking English becomes more natural. Well, it's 10:30. And I think it's time for me to sleep. Tomorrow is another busy day. Another day to study. Another day to work. Another day to learn. Another day to enjoy my hobbies. And maybe another day to drink too much coffee. But now, it's time to rest. Thanks for spending this part of my day with me. And remember, you can practice English with your own daily routine. You can talk about what you do in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. You can talk about your studies, your work, your hobbies, your family, and the things you enjoy. You don't need difficult English. Start with simple sentences. Speak a little every day. And little by little, you will feel more comfortable. Now, I want to know about you. What does a normal day look like for you? And what is your favorite thing to do in your free time? See you around in another interesting podcast.
I hope today's story inspired you to try something new while improving your English. Thanks for listening, and remember, every day is a new chance to learn. See you in the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on my social media such as TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Goodbye.